All right, so I'm gonna get started.
Yeah, we can.
Okay, so today what we're gonna do is we're gonna do reflections. This is different than translations, okay? So we're still under the umbrella of a transformation. So this is just a different transformation. A reflection, what you're gonna do is basically take your pre-image and you're going to reflect it over a line of reflection. Really what happens is it ends up just flipping over. Okay? So, a reflection across line M. So you always have to have a line of reflection. It's impossible, ladies, have a line of, or have reflection without a line of reflection. And basically how this works kind of in this picture is from point B, we're basically going to count back to the line of reflection. And in that same line, that's going to be perpendicular. You have a lovely writing right here. That line will continue to create B prime, and they have to be the same, or they have to be equidistant. They have to be congruent. Okay. So, for example, C right here, you would look back to the line of reflection, and it's going to be the same distance from the line of reflection to C prime. Now, if it lines on the line of reflection, can you reflect it anything? No, it's just going to stay there. It's literally just going to flip over that line right there. Okay? Does this look to be rigid motion? Yes, rigid motion again preserves angles and length. So as long as it's the same size and the same figure, it should be rigid motion. So this would in fact be rigid motion. Okay. So, again, ladies, I kind of told you basically if you reflect over a line of reflection, what happens is that it changes orientation. So it goes from here and it flips over. So I was able to do, I can do this with my smart board here. So right here, what happens basically is you are flipping and we're flipping left to right because you're reflecting and it flips over. So that's basically what's happening with a reflection.
So like if you fold it in half, it would like.
They would be together. Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Correct.
What if you like are given a graph and it says to reflect it, but like to reflect it perfectly, like would it go off the graph because like the one is really close to the y-axis and like the graph isn't big enough.
We're not going to run into that scenario.
Really?
Okay. So, ladies, so you have, looking at this, you would name this, so this is B-U-G. It's also just showing you that you're changing orientations. So you would kind of notice that B prime, U prime, and G prime basically are switched. They're just kind of trying to make sure you know that the orientation is changing. Okay. All right. All right. Oh, well, I just asked this question already, but reflections preserve distance. They preserve angle measure. So if you want to write it again, but this is basically saying rigid motion, which we had just already talked about. So this is yes. Reflection is in fact rigid motion. Okay, so go ahead and flip on the back. Okay, so it says graph the points. So we're apparently gonna draw a triangle, so A, B, and C. And they gave you the ordered pairs for the triangle. So I want you to go ahead and graph the ordered pairs and label them A, B, and C. Okay, so your triangle should hopefully look something similar to mine. And then it says you're going to, so notation wise, big R means reflection. Then in like kind of subscript, they're going to tell you what you're going to reflect over. So in this case, they're going to say, hey, reflect over the y-axis. And then of course it tells you what they want you to reflect. In this case, they want A, B, C to be reflected. So just kind of to talk through that notation there. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a dotted line for where our line of reflection is with the y-axis. The y-axis already is labeled for us. This is our line of reflection. Okay, so we had talked about kind of in the first picture that the B and the B prime have to be equidistant from the line of reflection. Now, do we see that it has to stay in that line? I didn't take B prime and move it over here, right? It stays in that line. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to take each point in turn. I'm going to do little dots. You don't have to do the dots. It's just also, I'm recording this for the people that are absent and all that kind of stuff. So just so you can kind of visualize what's happening. So if I'm going to start at A, you're going to count back towards the line of reflection. So that's 1 space, 2 space, 3 spaces, right? Okay. So from A, you're going to reflect over that line of reflection. So if you went left 3 to get A, what are you going to go from the line of reflection? You're going to go right 3. So 1, 2, 3. And this should be A prime. So does A and A prime look like they are equidistant from the line of reflection? Yes, they should be. Okay. So again, I'm just going to do the dots just to help visualize. All right. So for example, if we did B, B is on the line of reflection. So did you go left or right any from the line? No. So B prime is going to be the same thing as B. Okay. Again, you're going to take C and you're going to reflect over the line of reflection. So C right here is 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces from the line of reflection. So it's on the right side, right? So then you're going to go left how many spaces? 4. So in that same line, you're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you're going to get C prime. Okay. Then you're going to go ahead and connect the dots. Now, remember that reflection is rigid motion. So it should be the same shape. Does it look like it's the same shape? Yes.
Where? You just made it, you just changed the X to negative.
Kate, in this case, yes, but we're gonna have different lines of reflection, so you just making it negative won't always do that. On the y-axis, yes, because you're flipping from here to here. So you're just counting from the line of reflection. So you're counting C over 4, so you're gonna go left over 4, make sure that they're the same distance on
I'm
each
going
side.
this weekend to the farm.
Because, Kate, what's gonna happen is we're gonna make the line of reflections other things besides the y-axis. So you just making it negative wouldn't make that work.
Yeah. You're really trying to get the water with them.
Okay, any questions? Are we good? Good? All right. Okay, so ladies, what we're gonna do is we have this graph here where we're gonna do a lot of reflections. They're all capital R's, and you can see all the different lines that they want you to reflect the points over. Okay? What I'm gonna do is I'm going to each time draw the line of reflection, and then I'm just gonna erase it because it gets a little crazy with colors. So just so you're aware of that if you're wanting to erase the same thing or do whatever. But we are gonna start with point A. Okay.
Oh no.
So you might want to, like, these graphs, the X and Y axis aren't very prominent. If you're wanting to, like, thicken those, so you can see that a little easier. Okay, so they want us to reflect A over the x-axis. Okay, so I'm hoping we all know what the x-axis is. It's right there. Okay, so how did you get to A from the x-axis? So you went up 2, right? So to get A prime, you go down 2.
Wait. Did you get that?
So up 2. From the line of reflection, then down 2. We reflected this over,
Why did you go up 2 and down 2?
because it's originally there. It's right there. You're reflecting it over that line.
Oh. But it goes over 4 in from the.
But you're just focusing on taking this line right here and reflecting it over. That's all.
I don't know why I just made that more complicated.
Okay, so ladies, the question says, what's the coordinates? So again, we're reviewing. The coordinates are from, like, normal coordinates. So what's the coordinates of A prime?
4 negative.
4 negative 2. Okay? So again, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just move that line of reflection each time so we don't get too confused with what we're doing. All right, so for B, we're gonna take B, which is right here, and we're gonna reflect that, oops, never mind. Okay. So ladies, you're reflecting it over the y-axis. So from the line of reflection, how did you get to B originally?
Go up.
Go to the right. All right, ladies, say
No.
you went to the right 3.
Yes.
So on the other side, you're gonna go 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, right there.
Why should you go that way? Not
1, 2,
it's
3.
on the y-axis. That's what you're reflecting it over.
Okay, so for B prime, what is the ordered pair? -3, -3. Okay, we good so far? Okay, the rest of them, I'm assuming you know what the X and the Y axis are. Usually this is where it needs to come into a review, or we have a little bit of difficulty of remembering what the rest of the lines are talking about. Okay, so for this one, it says Y equals 1. Do we remember what kind of line this is?
Straight.
It is straight.
Yeah.
So it's a horizontal line. So you need to recognize that Y equals a number
I know, but if it's cross, yeah.
is a horizontal line. And then just to review this at this time, right now before we go on any other places, X equals a number is what kind of line?
Vertical.
It's vertical. Okay, that is from Algebra 1. We're reviewing it right this second. I am now assuming we reviewed it. You should know that. Correct? All right. So for C, which is right here, this is where it's going to be important that you reflect over the correct line. We're not doing the axes anymore. So we're going to move this. Y equals 1 means you go to where Y is 1, and there's a horizontal line through it. So this is your line of reflection.
Oh, I get it. I don't. Oh, I get it. But the lines are here. But I have to figure out where the go.
Okay.
To the side.
So
From
from the line of reflection, your red line right now, how do you get to C?
You go up.
You went up 2, so then on the other side, what are you gonna do?
Down 2.
So you go down from the line of reflection, down 1, 2 to get C prime.
So then your coordinate would be -2, -4.
Yes.
Oh, she said negative. I must say coordinate again.
-1.
You say it so like precise. Like you pronounce every letter in the word.
Coordinate.
Coordinate.
Okay,
Coordinate.
are we good with that one?
And she says, but not like we're just like.
All right. Okay, next one. X equals -1. So what kind of line is that?
It's on the X.
It's a vertical.
It's a vertical line, so where that's going is where X is -1. So this would be X is -1 right there. Okay, so, and we are doing D, which is right here.
5.
So again, from the line of reflection, how do you get to D? Ladies.
You go to the left.
You go to the left 3, so the other side,
Right.
right 3. 1, 2, 3. So what is that ordered pair? That would be 2, -3. Okay, ladies, you're gonna do the next 2 for me.
I like this. Me too. I do. I understand it. For the first time.
I know I do.
Oh, he's a lot. Do we have geometry today? Yeah, how are you gonna tell me watching Okay. Andrew said this not We're gonna have a lot of fun.
Okay, so ladies, let's review this then. So y equals -3. What kind of line is it?
It is a horizontal.
Okay, so it's a horizontal at y equals -3 right here. So E is up 2, right? So you just go down 2, which the order pair would be 1, -5. Questions? Okay. Then x equals -2 is a vertical line. And we're reflecting F. So S is over 1, 2, 3, 4. So you go to the left 1, 2, 3, 4, which would be -5, 3. Did I count, or -6, 3? -6, 3. That would be your final answer. -6. Y equals -3. You went up 1, 2. You go down 1, 2.
Oh, I do, I'm great.
Okay, ladies, will you put out your homeworks for me? Okay, ladies, will you go to number 19 on your homework for me, please?
Yes.
I got my hair cut.
Oh, yes, we do. I want our homework.
Are you gonna explain like right below?
The first part you should be okay, the second part. Okay, so ladies, the first part is you just reflecting that image over the required line that they tell you. We just practiced that quite a bit, so you should be okay with that. The last bit of your homework is they give you 2 figures, and you need to write what line they reflected over. Okay, so you need to look at it and say, okay, where is it? Now, remember, if from the line of reflection, all the points have to be equidistant. Okay, so that's really what you're looking for. And you do need to know, is it y equals a number or x equals a number? Knowing these horizontal and vertical lines, you need to know. Okay, again, this is from Algebra 1. I'm assuming you remember and you know that. Okay, so for example, you also need to pay attention. I think I've had other questions on my translations. What's your pre-image? Because it says at X, Y, W, there's no prime on it, okay? The ones with the prime is where you're going to, okay? So for 19, what kind of line do you think you're gonna have? Is it gonna be a horizontal or a vertical line? It's gonna be horizontal. Is this the line of reflection? No, right, because that has to be equidistant. So would we agree it's right here?
Yeah.
Okay, because these points are all equidistant. Do we see that?
Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm looking for, ladies, is for you to write that line of reflection. So the reflection, is it X equals a number or Y equals a number? Y. So Y is, and what's the Y point right here?
-1.
-1. So that's what I'm looking for.
Wait, so we draw the line in the middle of the two things, so it's
I would.
so the rule is just,
They all have to be equidistant.
so it's just RY equals -1. We did one more to the other one.
So can we, I don't get it.
Okay, now I think
You should do that -1, you just went down. To meet the down.
Yep, that's in the middle. Okay, ladies, let's briefly look at 20. All right, 20 is overlapping, correct? Okay, ladies. All right, ladies, you with me? Okay, so this one is overlapping. You still need to have a line where all the points are equidistant and you reflect it over that line. So, do you think you have a vertical line or a horizontal line here? Vertical. Now, again, take one of the points, right? Wait. L and L prime. Those need to be equidistant from each other, correct? So what's directly in the middle? Do we agree it's this line right here?
X.
So R, X equals, the X point is
1.
look like just one actually, from here, over 1. So X equals 1.
so if they overlap, we just draw in the middle of where they overlap.
The line always just has to be equidistant from all the
Wait,
points.
how you get one?
I got it.
From 0, right here, over 1.
Wouldn't it be 2?
I'm not.
Well, that one is just 1, but on that one
Yeah,
it's 2.
because it's either different, -1 is down 1.
Right.
Because it's -1 right here, -2, -3, -4. This is X, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, I thought we were counting one for.
No, you're telling them what the line is.
Okay.
Not how far away it is.
No, I know I have to write it.
I don't use it.
I know you're supposed to write it. On it, but I heard
Well, so P and E prime are the same.
but I took them all there.
Straight under the head.
Because I heard like some people.
Let me see if the blue one's better. That's,
I think you just have to have like a.
I think it's just overlapped, so that's why it looks confusing. Yeah, it's just overlap of each other. Yeah, those overlap with each other.
What's that?
The parent trap is not.
Okay, so ladies, you have worksheet for homework. Next time I see you, you do a quiz on reflection, and then we're talking about rotations tomorrow.
Is there